So Sophie Cunningham was back in Indiana yesterday. Obviously, she's been running some tournaments. She's been kind of doing her own thing over the offseason, as expected with a lot of these players. They are doing their own thing. One thing I am surprised about when it comes to Sophie Cunningham is I'm surprised she hasn't been doing media work with the Pacers. She used to do a ton of media work back in the day with the Phoenix Suns in the offseason, which is why it seemed like she did take some very team-friendly deals in when she was in Phoenix. She took quite a lot of team-friendly deals, and a lot of people were like expecting kind of something somewhat similar when she signed for Indiana, because they're like, well, why would you have somebody that can do so much in the media and just not use her, especially someone as popular as Sophie Cunningham? But the reality is, maybe with her podcast, and like, there's no way, especially with the timing of that, there's no way that was like that was cheap for the volume. There's no way that at that time, because I know it was like I don't know if it was a bidding war or what it was, but like I know that it wasn't easy to get the rights to Sophie Cunningham's podcast, because we heard from Portnoy that he was trying and it fell through, and like Barstool can pay. At the end of the day, it's one of those things where you've got a player in Sophie Cunningham who's in Indiana, and it's very clear, like, you can tell the players that 1,000,000% want to be back. And Sophie Cunningham is no ifs, ands, or buts about it, one of them. Like, Sophie Cunningham absolutely wants to be back in Indiana. And I know a lot of people are there probably saying, like, oh, because a lot of people thought she wasn't going to be playing for the Fever, and a lot of people thought she, maybe didn't want to play for the Fever, or what was it that people were saying? It's like, oh, Sophie Cunningham just used the clout to get her a big contract for next year. And I'm like, that was never the case. That was never, ever, ever the case with Sophie. It's like, it's just, if the Indiana Fever fucked her over the contract, she'd leave. But it is there. It is good to see again. To see Sophie, obviously, see Sophie at these games, and to see players like, obviously, someone said she signed a contract. Nobody signed a contract. Nobody has signed a contract, unfortunately. So there are a lot of players that you would kind of hope that will be on your team, that are going to be on the Indiana Fever, that unfortunately, as of right now, are not going to be members of the Fever. Like, the only players technically that are under contract, because again, there's no core designations, there's nothing going on. The only players that are under contract right now are the players on rookie deals. And again, if the players go on strike, those contracts are absolutely irrelevant. So, and that's the only problem, is that, like, I don't know why people have made it up that, like, the WNBA, their proposal is that every rookie scale deal is like brought up. Every rookie scale deal is brought up to the new CBA, and it's like, no. All those rookie scale deals, they're fucked. They're fucked. Like Dejanay Carton said as much a year ago. Anyone, it's not as bad if you're 2023, but if you are a 2024 or 2025, especially 2025 draftee, you're fucked. Like, you are going to be making you're going to be making $100K if you sign that 4-year deal. But again, I don't think those second round picks were on 4-year deals. But if you signed a 4-year deal, you're going to be making $90K when the league minimum is like $300K. Which, if the players get what they want, again, about a constantly fluctuating salary cap based on the league revenue, there will be players literally getting paid a quarter of the league max if the league grows as they expect it to grow. But look, at the end of the day, it is what it is. It is what it is when it comes to when it comes to the players, when it comes to the deals they made, because look, they're making their own deals. But for Sophie Cunningham, she is somebody that is expected to sign a big enough off-season deal. My biggest fear is the only way Sophie Cunningham doesn't come back is if they have to match a max contract to keep Lexi, and they choose to keep Lexi. I think Sophie's going to be much cheaper than Lexi, because, again, she's a restricted free agent, and as far as I'm aware, I don't know. I don't know if it's ever happened, but like, it's a bit different in the NBA and the WNBA. If a team is a restricted free agent, or if a player is a restricted free agent and they turn down a max contract to take way less from their current team, I don't know necessarily if you're able to do that. as a restricted free agent. I think you might have to match. If they have to match, like a team like a Sky might literally go and they genuinely could. Like there is a world where the Chicago Sky toss a max at Lexi Hull. Like there's a world where that happens. I don't think there's a world where a team tosses a max at Sophie Cunningham, because as good as she is, she's like just a role player. Lexi Hull's literally like a hustle player, culture changer type thing. Like it's that level when it comes to Lexi Hull. But yeah, it's still good to see Sophie Cunningham there in Indiana. It's good to see, of all WNBA teams that are linked with NBA teams, it does seem like the Fever are probably doing the most in terms of promoting their WNBA players. And we even saw it last year, like the Fever players being paraded around the Pacers games during the WNBA training camp, like Michaela Timpson, DeWanna Bonner, full stadium being treated like almost equals. And that's the one big thing, is that it is Indiana, and for all these players, it is absolutely the only it's the only place where the WNBA and the NBA team, in terms of like stature, a lot of the time are treated like equals. And obviously when it comes to Caitlin Clark is a big reason for that. Caitlin Clark is a big reason for that. But let's be real, like Sophie Cunningham, if she's walking around Indiana, she's probably not that different in terms of fame to, like, I'm just trying to think of who's the sixth, Andrew Nemhart. Like, it's probably not that different. Obviously, Caitlin Clark is the most famous basketball player in Indiana. I think we're all in agreement on that one. That there's no basketball player, man or woman in Indiana that is more famous than Caitlin Clark. That being said, at the end of the day, it's good to see again these players at these games, because for Sophie is somebody that she's not a restricted free agent, she's unrestricted, and with all the benefits of being in Indiana, all financially and career wise and otherwise, to be honest, I can't see her wanting to leave. Maybe there's a world where she leaves. I just can't see her wanting to. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it, lads. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, do you guys think that Sophie's gone? Do you guys think this doesn't really mean anything? Do you guys think this means she's guaranteed to stay? Never say never on any of these things. Like, I think when it comes down to it, this free agency is going to be crazy. I think this free agency is going to be absolutely crazy, because I think there's going to be an awful lot of weird player signings, because like teams aren't going to be doing shit like giving Mercedes Russell a max contract anymore. And then you also have to take into account a lot of players and teams aren't going to be looking to sign multi-year deals, because when the rookies come off their because the likelihood of the hard cap being gone is next to zero. So they're still going to be hard capped. And like, it could literally be the case where if they sign Lexi, Kelsey Mitchell, let's just say hypothetically they sign Lexi, Kelsey Mitchell, and Sophie Cunningham to multi-year deals, they're fucked. Like, they're actually fucked, because then you can't afford to keep Aaliyah Boston. So there's loads of things like that are also have to be taken into account. A lot of these big deals, because you have Aaliyah Boston's free agency coming up, and then you've got who's going to be a max contract player. Then you've also got free agency of Caitlin Clark coming up the following year. And suddenly, if you've signed, there is a weird world where if you have if Lexi Hull becomes an untradeable asset, or Sophie Cunningham becomes an untradeable asset, where you have to then go and trade you have to go give up all of your first round picks to get off these bad contracts. So look, it is what it is. I do think when it comes down to it that the Fever are going to be fine. But I think this is going to be a weird offseason for the Fever. And the odds of the Fever losing somebody that is a fan favourite is probably 30%. And it could very well be Sophie Cunningham. I hope it's not, but it could very well be. But anyway, yeah. Hopefully her being at the Fever game shows the intent on both sides to keeping her stay. There's just sometimes financial reasons why that might not happen. Anyway, I'll see you guys.